So I just got my vaccine. It's kind of like surreal right now because as I was in line waiting, my dad just got his results that he was positive. So I kind of wish I would have asked the nurse like how safe or how quickly I can go and see him and take care of him and stuff. But I could really not come have a better time, especially considering that I've been feeling a little bit guilty that I've been selected, I guess, to get the vaccine first. And I feel like there's a lot more vulnerable people and a lot also more helpful people that can get in front of me. But nonetheless, I do think I'm not gonna take this for granted and try to help my family and my loved ones as much as I can, and my friends too. So the date is January 8th, it's a Friday. I've been getting tons of questions from family and friends, just curious to know how the vaccine process was like, how it was able to get an appointment, to know if I've experienced any side effects since getting the vaccine. Just to break it down a little bit, because I'm a med student, I am considered a healthcare worker and also someone who has direct exposure to COVID patients. To be honest though, as a med student, we really don't get that much exposure to patients at all, but we still are considered a part of that kind of like criteria. And so I don't know if any of you guys are familiar or have noticed, and I'll put a link to a description below of the tiers, but essentially there are tiers to determine who gets access to the vaccine first. And of course, those who have more direct exposure with COVID patients more frequently, or in more extreme situations, like for example, emergency medicine doctors, or perhaps those who are doing trauma surgery who have access or who have exposure to COVID patients on a regular basis, are going to have priority in getting the vaccine. So we were in that first tier as med students. However, they are subdivided into groups, and I believe we were group D. So we were still on the kind of like the beginning-ish spectrum. We got it pretty fast. I know that I was seeing posts from other faculty members getting their vaccine just about a week prior to when we got the invitation. So I know that in terms of the flow, they've been really quick in giving those vaccines out and making sure they're scheduling appointments in a way that is also COVID friendly. I mean, personally, they told us, I want to say the 21st, that as MS1s and MS2s we'd be getting the ability to make our appointments, and we were able to make our appointments via an invitation that was sent to our school email. So we received a follow-up email from actually UCI Health, I want to say 2 days after we got that notification from our faculty member. And from there, I was able to make my appointment, I want to say the next day. I ended up making my appointment for the 26th. So I got the invitation, I want to say the 22nd, and then I was able to make the appointment to get the vaccine the 26th. So the turnaround was pretty quick. As far as like the process in getting the vaccine, it was also very, very fairly fast. I want to say I was in and out within 10 minutes. So it was really quick, and they had a pretty good system to make sure that we weren't really crowded together. I'm sorry, my dog's right here and I think she wants some attention right now. To make sure that we really weren't in a crowded area or exposing each other too much, I should say. But I'm sorry, she's distracting me right now. So yeah, as I had mentioned, unfortunately my dad did get diagnosed with COVID. However, before he was diagnosed, we already had an inkling about it beforehand because of some of the symptoms he was experiencing. But all in all, I just want to say like he's doing a lot better. He's doing all right. He did get his taste and smell back. So he did lose it for a bit, but he asked me one morning to get him a Big Mac. And at first I was just like, this is probably not the most appropriate for someone who's sick, but you know, the fact that he was even getting his appetite back I thought was a really, really good sign. So I kind of appeased. Like, she just wants to be in the shot. Okay, Callie, say hi. Will you say hi? Will you go now? No? Okay. So he's doing really good. I also wanted to make a note that I did get the Moderna vaccine. So what it looked like to me, because I had also picked up medication for my dad on Christmas, that some people in some parts of the hospital, and this was in a separate hospital in Kaiser, got the Pfizer version and some got Moderna. And so same with us, our faculty member who told us that we were going to get the vaccination invitation also said we were going to get Pfizer, but we ended up getting Moderna. So it looked like the initial shipments must have been Pfizer. However, that's not the one I got. I got Moderna. Yeah, so the symptoms that I got are going to be associated with that version of the vaccine. So yeah, immediately no redness or swelling or anything like that. I want to say maybe 6 hours later, I did notice a little bit more of a tenderness and sensitivity in the same area that I was given the shot, but nothing else. And then in the evening, what I did notice is that I was getting muscle aches only on that side of my body, which was the left side, which I thought was a little bit odd, but other than that, nothing too major. It was that evening that I noticed that there was almost like a stinging sensation, and like just highly sensitive on the surface of my skin. I had slept that night with my nephew and my sister, and my baby nephew was in the middle of us, tossing and turning and kicking, and he was kicking my arm, and he would wake me up every single time in the middle of the night. It was a fun night, to say the least. So that evening, all throughout the next day, the second day, I was experiencing that pain, and not so much of a throbbing sensation, but more of a stinging sensation, especially with touch. So if anybody were to touch my arm, it would be extremely painful, and lifting my arm past like my shoulder blade was really painful. So I could definitely see how somebody might have to take a day off of work, just because I feel like it can potentially like impair you to do some of your normal work activities, especially if you do something a lot more physical. However, other than that, I didn't really notice anything else, except later on in the day I was starting to feel a bit more sluggish. The next day I was also starting to feel a little bit more lethargic, but I had also that also could be attributed because it was a holiday season, I really was not eating well at all. I was just eating leftover tamales and like just really sugary foods. That third day, I did make a conscious effort to eat a lot more greens and eat more salads, and my whole energy level just shot back up. So that definitely could have just been attributed to poor appetite. And also I took an Advil. So they do advise to not pre-medicate with any Advil or Tylenol in anticipation for the soreness or tenderness, but you are allowed to take it after the fact. I wanted to wait for as long as possible, so I ended up taking an Advil the third day, and that helped as well with the better diet to manage my symptoms a lot. And after that, I want to say after the end of the third day, I was feeling pretty much the same. If anything, just a little bit of tenderness in my arm, but nothing major. So that was my experience really with the vaccine. The appointment process, like I mentioned, I got the Moderna one, and I didn't have a choice. So I think they're just vaccinating based on what's available in the hospital. So I'm going to link all of the documentation that I got from UCI Health at the bottom. And also, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I would love to possibly do a follow-up to this video once I get my second dose, which should be in the next couple of weeks. And if you guys have any questions in between then, please feel free to let me know.